It wasn't echoing the whole time.
Tweet Talk podcast episode. Man, hit him with the intro, Raphael. I don't know how to do the intro.
Tweet Talk episode 130.
It's Sunday service, man. Calling this Sunday service. We did the same thing last week. Got a lot of people tuning in too, so I was like, we got to run it back. People liking that Sunday service.
Yeah, man. Last week was a good one.
It was a long one too.
It was a long one. We had a lot to unpack last week.
I would say Dave provided a lot of value. That dude knows his stuff. So it was cool listening to him talk. And it was real technical. It was good stuff.
Yep. So welcome to Tweet Talk, the Black World Podcast with your host, Raphael Husbands. That's me. And Charles Oglesby III, JD, a.k.a. Todd Millionaire. Moving on to Todd Billionaire. Just tweeting out.
Get out here, man.
Just tweeting it out. I didn't even see him show up. I was tweeting out the link. Welcome to Tweet Talk, where we talk about building black wealth and we break down these financial tweets. Special guest, Nolan Oglesby, first of his name. Everything his eyes touches is his, apparently, obviously. And let's get it, man. What's new in Todd Capital World?
What's new in Todd Capital World? Hopefully you can hear me. I don't know what that button even does. It is pressing, but man, we just out here just grinding, living our lives. Nothing real crazy going on.
Yeah, man. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Tweet Talk Pod. That's Tweet Talk POD. Follow man Charles on Twitter at Real Todd Billion. Follow myself on Twitter at Work Money Life. Man, we got to bring back the Todd Capital Chronicles. I realized the other day that the mobile barbershop still exists. I forgot all about it.
Not necessarily. It's kind of something that we stopped doing. So yeah,
but you still, but still own it. The actual van.
The assets should be in Atlanta.
Okay.
The problem is like that project, and people got to understand, man. I was watching. I think Ashley Johnson. She said she started 7 businesses and one of them succeeded. She said you only need one. And I think the problem with a lot of folks is they expect everything to succeed, and then if it doesn't succeed, they're like, oh, well, that didn't succeed. So look at that didn't succeed. Everything ain't going to succeed. But the benefit of it was a smaller investment. So sometimes when you're going into something that you don't know is going to succeed, or you're kind of skeptical about if it's going to succeed, you don't want to go all in. You don't want to be leveraging business credit to go put $100,000 into this project. You kind of want to put a manageable amount into this project and then make it happen. So no, every project is not successful, and that doesn't make you unsuccessful because every project's not successful. So that's that on that one.
So Ferrari on my mind till they find the door.
That was a currency line. I wanted to change it for Porsche instead of Ferrari, but I just left it as Ferrari. That's just what it says.
I figured that was a currency line. Because he just went to the concert, yesterday?
And I saw Currency live yesterday, which I think is probably my second or third time seeing him this year. Probably the second time. But I've seen him another time recently. And it's just cool because I mean, he's a great artist. I vibe with his music, and I was actually able to support my friend who he's kind of building his own rap career, and he ended up being able to open for Currency. So I was like, you know what? I'm trying to be the Diddy of the Dame Dash around here. So it's like the way I see it is a rap career is something like a business.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really cool was I was listening to that podcast with Earn Your Leisure and Slim Thug, and he was talking about how like you don't need 1 million people to make a bunch of money. You don't need 1 million followers to make a bunch of money. And another thing is that you don't even need like to make $1 million to be successful at something. So if you make $100,000 and you get to do what you love and you get to spend all day in the studio and you get to travel and do stuff, that's a pretty damn good $100,000. There's a lot of people making $100,000 or less, and they got to be under somebody's thumb. They got to be under somebody's watch. They got to be showing up and leaving and getting criticized and getting looked at crazy. So it's like what we measure success can be attained through business or through our individual endeavors, and doesn't have to reach $1 million levels for it to be deemed successful. But the cool thing is things can always scale. So let's say you're making $80,000, $100,000 on your terms. Yeah, as you continue to do that, you're going to make more and more money. Currency makes more money now than he did before. Larry June makes more money now than he did before. They're going to only continue to get more money as they kind of grow into this process. So for me, I see it as like another venture. But one thing that I know is that you're gonna have to get other rooms. Let's go put something on for you. Come on.
Take a break here at Tweet Talk. Those of you in the YouTube chat, shout out to Dre. Chat. Let's go. Drop your city and state. Share this with at least 5 friends. Let's go on this Sunday. Beautiful Sunday. It's nice out. Today's topic is making money whenever.
So what I'm trying to say is that a few things. Firstly, we got to get behind our friends' ventures. I don't care if you agree, you disagree, if you like it, you don't like it. If that's what they're passionate about, get behind it. Use your skills, use your expertise. I am not a producer. I am not a rapper. I'm not none of those things. I'm a businessman. So what do I bring to the table? I bring to the table like, hey, bro, we need content. We need reels. We need TikToks. We need all that stuff, and we need it firing off consistently all the time, promoting your stuff. Not just a video every month. No, we need a reel every single day. What else do we need? We need merch. We need you to have your brand, to be able to walk around having your brand. So I created merch for him. I created a bunch of t-shirts. We were wearing them. Everybody else is wearing. He was able to give them out. And so I bring the business thing to it. But you know what I also bring is I bring somebody who's not going to tax you on the upfront. A lot of people, they're like, man, you got this business going. Just pay me $100K and I'll help you. Boom, boom, boom. I'm like, pay me nothing. I'm going to bring you the same skill set, the same energy, the same effort. And then when it makes too much sense for you to pay me, then we can get paid. But I'm not going to be trying, because in the beginning of a business, and a lot of people, they come to you and they're just looking for money, and they don't realize that they're missing out on the opportunity. The opportunity is bigger than the money. Imagine if you were like, Charles, hey, man, I'm trying to start this podcast. And I'm like, bro, it's going to cost me $100 to be on an episode. Every single episode, I need $100. You're like, oh, I'll get you when I get to you. I'm like, bro, we're going to invest in this. I'm going to just show up for free. Because I know what it takes. I do business. I don't want business. I do it. I study it. I understand it. And so if you see your friend with an opportunity, and first off, $1 million ain't no money. So if you see your friend making good bread, do not try to gouge his pockets. Just try to add value. It's funny because I was going to ask him. I was going to be like, hey, man, like, what do you think about me coming on and me doing this? I was like, nah. I was like, hey, you need somebody to shoot content, I got you. You need somebody to get you some shirts, I got you. You need somebody to show up early, I got you. You need somebody to do whatever, I got you. Because that's what it takes. In the beginning of a business, you need more people putting the effort behind what you're doing, not just people looking to pull money out of your pocket. And that's what a lot of people are looking to do. A lot of people are looking to show up and be like, hey, can I get a check? Can I get a check? Can I get paid? Can I get paid? And then that business doesn't grow. Why do Chinese businesses grow? Why did that dude who told a story about the Cambodian people who he was bringing over and he was paying for their airfare and he was paying to put them up? Why was he doing that? Because they were working for him for free, helping them grow the business for free, but not just for free. What do they get out of the deal? They got a franchise. They got their own business. They got equity in what he's building. He could have just built that himself, but like you really can't. And so do not undervalue what you can bring to the table and just get a piece of equity by contributing your efforts. I've had people who tap in, they tap out, they're getting paid, they're showing up, they're not getting paid, they're not showing up. It's like, you got to see the big vision. You got to see the big vision. Imagine if we grow this to a multi-billion dollar company. Now you looking good. And you over there tripping off of $500. It's supposed to be $1 billion opportunities, $1 million opportunities, multi-million-dollar opportunities for $500. Walking away from dope-ass people who will bring them in on the ground level. You got to realize, like, there's organizations out there like your job. Like the job I left was like a 100-person firm. I'm a one-person firm. You can't approach me as a one-person firm the same way you'd approach somebody with a 100-person firm. But also know that your loyalty is going to be rewarded. So what's going to happen as that large firm grows is you're going to be rewarded with loyalty, with shares. I was just reading this book on private equity and it was talking about how, like, when you sell these companies, you can sell them multiple times. And multiple times you give your actual employees and other people who are involved like shares. Why? To incentivize them. So you want them to have a fraction of ownership. And I want people to have a fraction of ownership of what we're building because I want that incentive. And me just saying it isn't enough. But that's ultimately the goal. The goal is when we cash out, we all cash out. Not just Charles cashes out and Charles rides off into the sunset. I take care of people, man. Nobody can say I don't take care of people. I was paying people big bread, consistently pay people big bread. I was paying my VA big bread. I was paying the graphic guy big bread. And they all kind of try to play me. So I had to move on.
There you go.
If this thing gets canceled, just know it's not my fault. You know, I mean, it kind of is my fault. But if it gets canceled, just know we're going to have to call it short. Because I'm like, yeah, so just know.
Yeah, you already see that. So I was going to hit on the next tweet. You said novices get paid on the front, experts get paid on the back.
Exactly.
Novices want to get paid for the time. Experts just want equity.
The problem, Myron Golden said, business isn't hard. We just don't know business. This stuff isn't hard. We just don't even know what we're looking at. So I'll be trying to explain the opportunity to people of growing an actual enterprise, and all they want to do is get a paycheck because all they know is paycheck. They don't know nothing but paycheck. They don't know nothing but right now. And so they try to turn everything into a right now opportunity until an eventual and future opportunity. I can't get them to see the forest for the trees. All they see is the mother effing trees. And it really makes me upset. And I was listening to a podcast, and the Max Maxwell podcast, his friend built a software company and sold it twice. And he made a comment to me. He said, I'm so used to just being like the only person in the room when I'm in this space. He said, even at my company, I'm the only one. And I was like, wow. I was like, that's kind of interesting. But it's not about skin color. It's about mindset. And a lot of folks ain't got the mindset, man. A lot of folks just don't understand it. Somebody came to me and they're like, oh, I didn't make no money in the rental properties. I was like, well, we realize that the rental properties ain't really supposed to be cash flowing like that. That's the wrong perspective, especially when you're doing with single family homes. The real goal is the exit. And that's what I learned by listening to that podcast. He said, you buy the business. So what they do is they buy the business, they grow the business, they sell the business based off of the income that it's generating. Their goal isn't necessarily to cash flow off of the business. We're thinking cash flow because we've been sold cash flow, but the real goal is acquisition to exit, acquisition to exit. So that's the reason why the Monopoly Bros made $2 million, not because they bought and they cash flowed it. Everybody thinks, oh, you buy an apartment, you cash flow. No, what they did is they bought a property, they increased the rents, which therefore increased the value, which therefore yielded them $2 million in increased value. That's the play. That's the play. That's how you make money. You don't make money pulling all the rents. What you should be doing is throwing all the rents at that property to increase the value of that property. New roof, new siding, new windows, new bathroom, new kitchen, increasing the value, therefore increasing the rents, even though you're not pulling any cash out. And then what you do is you can sell a portfolio for much, much better, and you improve the neighborhood. That's how you do business. It's not about the cash flow. Cash flow is going to ruin the asset. Pulling the cash out of the asset ruins the asset. Every asset, whether it's a business, whether it's real estate, if you pull it, and that's why I get so adamant about people not wanting to come to the business and look for a salary. It's like you pulling cash out of the asset. I'm pulling cash out of the asset to pay your rent. When we should be pulling cash out of the asset to buy a building. That's why I can't, and I want people to understand that and why I do this. I'm not just telling you what you should do. I'm telling you what I do. I'm going to come and I'm going to add massive value to your organization without asking a dime. Why? Because the goal is to increase the value of the organization, not to increase my pockets in the meantime. And that is why people who get to the point to where I'm at now, they start doing the things like where they go and they work with the business and they grow that business. So I'm going to go work with the Monopoly Bros. I'm going to go work with whoever else that wants to work with me. I'm going to grow their business knowing I'm going to get equity on the backside. That's what I want to do for a living. That's what I do. I'm going to come alongside you. I'm going to build your stuff up. We go sell it, or we're going to just cash flow or whatever it's going to look like. We have a massively yielding business, or we're going to sell it. But the cool thing is you can always sell it and then still keep a piece of the asset and then sell it again. And so that's what I saw. And so that's my thing. I was watching this podcast on Grand Caliber, and there's this Asian dude who said he's working for Grand Caliber, but he's already well off. And he said that like he had some investments that did really, really well. And so now what he's trying to do is just get into a business and grow that business. And so like that's the focus. And so every opportunity that I'm seeing, whether it's my friend's rap career, whether it's whatever, I think we could blow it up. And I think that I have the mindset that's going to blow it up. And a lot of people don't have this mindset. Like I tweeted before, I was like, I'm not perfect, but there's not many me's out here. There's not many me. So therefore, when you get attached to a me, don't think you just go replace me with another me. Because I don't know too many other me's. Maybe one other me on the internet. And we all know who he is. But it's not a lot of other me's out there.
I mean, that explains the other tweet I was going to ask you about, where you say I support folks who are building because I know what it's like to build without support, and for the people who you actually help to be looking for a check.
Yeah,
I see it all now.
It's real life, man, and it sucks, but it's some people out there who get it, fam. There are some people out there who get it, and when I heard that brother make that comment, I was like, maybe. When I was in college, I started college and I joined the frat and I was real active in the frat. And then when I decided to get really serious about my education, I shifted my friend group. So I still had the same friends, but I had different friends too. And I met these guys because I went to this accounting association meeting with my mom. And like accounting students are like the really focused students because accounting is not easy. And so I ended up like hanging out with this Asian dude and this white dude, like real tough. And I just got exposed to so much stuff. Like it was life-changing stuff when I got into that environment. And so I like Tweet Talk, building black wealth, but it's about building wealth, period. The wealth ain't got to be black for it to be wealth. and just because I'm black doesn't mean it's not wealth. So we're just going to be pursuing wealth, all right? Pursuing wealth. And y'all can get on, y'all can support, but the mindset matters. I'm not rocking with nobody I got to convince. I'm not rocking with nobody I got to persuade. I'm not rocking with nobody that I got to beg. Either you get it or you get it.
Yeah, that's interesting. You talked about hanging out with these other guys. I just saw a reel from Ashley Fox this morning. She was talking about how when she was working on Wall Street, she felt anxious because she was the only black woman in the firm. And then she realized years later that, man, that helped build her perspective. It exposed her to different things. And she's saying, like, we got to get around, like, other people, other cultures, and learn from them, get in other environments, and not just stick with hanging out with black folks. You know,
right. Shout out to Andre for the $5 super chat. Shout out to Terry for the $5 super chat. I didn't want to forget that. So, my bad, bro.
We appreciate y'all. Anybody got questions for the chat? You had a tweet that I wanted to ask you about. You said disrupt yourself so you won't be disrupted by others.
Yeah, man. The
I
the
think I know
gym
where
is
this came
that
from.
the gym is that I think it came from a book that I was reading, and just basically the idea of um
Is this about Netflix?
kind of, sort of, not really. I was reading the book, Private Equity Playbook, and he was talking about this. He was talking about growing your business and the different ways that you can grow your business. So you can have organic growth, which essentially means that you are just growing through either decreasing the expenses or increasing the revenues, and then looking at different ways that you can increase your revenues organically, either by raising your prices or lowering your costs, or introducing like tiers and things like that, so that you can like fit in different people into your products and capture more of the market. Which tiers is exactly what you should be considering to do. That's why Mercedes-Benz has the S class, the E class, and the C class. Why? Now they can get everybody's money. And some people only got S classes on the internet, and then some people only got C classes. You got to have all the above, in my opinion. I think you got to have the full suite of products. But essentially what he was saying is like, you have to always be looking to innovate. And this is something I'm really, really big on, is idea generation. Sitting down and thinking about like what ideas you can really put some effort into, because that's where the money is. The money is behind the ideas, not the imitation. So the money's behind ideas, not imitation. Everybody's out there seeing what everybody else got going on. Like, you can make some money like that. You can make some money like that. But in my opinion, I have a feeling that we're going to get further along by creating these ideas, by looking at these problems and thinking of creative and innovative ways to solve those problems. So it's like, if we can create an app for something, we can create a new piece of software for something, we can create some new program, that's going to be the big money. So instead of looking to be the solution, or instead of looking to like be the actual product, look to be like the platform or something to put something together so that you can service so many other people. So essentially, just like, I wanted to challenge myself to look at like, man, what are some things that I could be doing that maybe that could be a threat to my business? What could be a threat to your business? And then you innovate and implement that in your business, as opposed to you being a sitting duck and then letting other people out innovate you, and then letting other people beat you to the punch and then make your business obsolete. So Blockbuster could do the same thing. Blockbuster was in position so that they could have done exactly what Netflix is doing, and probably better. They had way more real estate, way more ability to send out the DVDs and do all that stuff. All they had to do was just change their business model a little bit, but they were comfortable and they didn't want to do it. But now they missed out on a huge opportunity. And so I would say that, like, in any business that you're in, always be looking to create and make ideas happen for yourself. There's a book called Choose Yourself, and he talks about you got to make your brain sweat. You got to be putting so much effort into thinking and idea generation that like you really like are making your brain sweat a little bit. And so I think that that's important. And what I like to do is I like to write all these ideas down. I like to also keep my ideas inside of my my notebook on my phone, like the little notes tab.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a better way. You can always just get a notebook, get a journal, and really start going into work and putting those ideas down.
Cool. Now you had a tweet where you said they give you a paycheck and treat you like a second class citizen.
It's funny because that wasn't even the line. It was a I think Currency line, and he was talking about rappers who get signed. And he said they give you $1 million and treat you like a second class citizen. And so I switched it and put my spin on it. And I was having this conversation with my wife recently. We were just talking about how like part of the reason why a lot of us are anti-job has nothing to do with the hours worked or the money earned. It has everything to do with the experience of being an employee. And I haven't had very positive experiences being an employee, just being honest. I've been overly criticized, been met with like not so good attitudes, had unfair circumstances and situations happen to me. And it can take a toll on when you think that's all you got. Like when you think all you have is employment, it can get very frustrating trying to be an employee and trying to move in the corporate ladder, trying to get people to like you, and realizing that there's certain things that aren't in your favor. There are situations that aren't in your favor. A few of them are that there's people who are going to be looked at more favorably from you just by the way they look, or what their last name is, or what their background is, or what their culture is. And people don't realize what really happens. I'm just going to be the person that says it. I'm going to be the person that says it. There's a lot of other, quote, minority groups that get more favorable treatment in the workplace than African Americans. Now, I'm not trying to change their mind. They can do whatever they want to do, but I'm not going to participate. I'm not going to be involved. If you have a bias, keep your bias. I don't want you to change your bias. I'm going to just boss up. Keep your bias. I'm going to boss up. Keep your bias. I'm going to get these dividends. Keep your bias. I'm going to continue to serve my people and add value to my people. I'm not trying to change nobody's opinions about me. And that's one of the things I realized when I was out in person. I don't really go too many places out in person because I don't really like people. I don't like people because I don't like how like people and their opinions and their words think they get to dictate your value. I dictate my value. I determine my value. I said I'm dope. And so when you get around people, then you got to kind of deal with like just the comments and the thoughts and what do they think about me. And I kind of like being by myself, but I do it because it's worth doing. But I ran into a lot of people from college, ran into a lot of people that I knew like way back then. College was a long time ago, y'all. College was about 10 years ago. And so like, if I don't really talk to those people anymore, it's probably a reason why. And so like, it is what it is. And so, yeah, I would just say that I forgot the tweet. What was the tweet again?
It was about being treated like a second-class citizen.
Oh, right. So that's just the thing. For me, it's not even about the income. It's just about the treatment.
Yeah, but then there's always the next tweet where you said there are more customers in the world than there are hours you can work in your entire life.
Man, I realized that when I make money sitting on the couch. So while I was out in the streets yesterday, you see this new cool TCM shirt though? That font is different. It's more aggressive. I got a bunch of them made too. So while I was out in these streets, I was still getting them sales. And I came home at nighttime, I was still getting them sales. And I realized like you can only work so many hours, but you can sell as many products as you want. There's no limit on the amount of products that you could sell. And then when I realized that, I was like, bro, like I did the math. 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year for 40 years. Let's say you work from 20 to 60. That's 80,000 hours. I sold my course about 40,000 times. And I sold my course for much more than I was making per hour on the job. I mean, I was selling it for like $100, $140. Not a lot of people making $200,000 a year. And so what I realized is just that, like, that's the thought. It's really no deeper than that. I just want people to grasp that there's more customers than there is hours that you can work. So you need to focus on customer acquisition. And that's how the billionaires and the trillionaires get made. You ain't gonna be a trade. Like if you do the math, if you like map out your hourly rate and then you map it out towards like your total life, like you're gonna see how much money you can make in your entire life. If you were to take like $40 an hour and multiply it times 80,000, you're gonna see what your total life expectancy in terms of earnings would be. And most people don't earn $40 an hour. So that's just my thought.
Yeah, I mean, more customers than the hours in a day, man. Like that's the key to it. Because if you just trade time for money, I mean, you're gonna be real tired forever. I met a guy like a couple of years ago, black dude, dressed nice, was driving a Lexus with these nice rims. I was surprised at what he was driving, but Lexus coupe with these big old rims. That guy told me he worked 2 full-time jobs for 30 years. Like, man, you must be tired. He looked like he was living a good life now, but man, you must be tired, bro.
I'm not against working hard. I'm not against working hard at all.
The thing is, though, he was divorced. I'm sure that had something to do with it, but I don't know his full story.
He might have been working 2 jobs to satisfy her, and she still wasn't satisfied. She was like, man, F this.
But you know what it is, man. Like, but then again, back in his time, they didn't have what we have. We talked about it before. He could have pulled out his phone and just make $1,000 a week from his phone. He didn't have social media back then. So he did what he had to do. But imagine that 30 years working 2 full-time jobs. That is crazy. But as far as the treatment goes at work, you said making 80K on your own terms beats making 6 figures if you have to constantly be afraid of being fired. Show up when what they say to wear, and pretend to like people you don't like.
So Gary Vee was talking about how a lot of people on the internet think that this like course creation, digital product stuff is winner take all, meaning that only one person can make bread. There can only be one person in the lane making all the money, one person with a podcast making all the money. And what he was saying is like, if you think that like success is mega success, making millions, then maybe you might think that's true. But for like people who just think success is making $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, even $60,000 on their own terms, $60,000 on your own terms, like that's okay. A lot of folks don't earn $60,000 or have the ability to increase their income exponentially, because with business, you can hit 1 year and it'll change everything. So the reason why I shared that is because a lot of us are in spaces where there is some competition, where we're not the only person in that space. But that shouldn't mean that you stop or you stop trying. Just because somebody has big names on their podcast and they're doing a conference doesn't mean that you can't still do something similar, maybe on a smaller scale, maybe even equivalent to that scale. And so I thought that was powerful, because I think too many times we get caught up on millionaire, and not just like free. Like a lot of people would leave their job. A lot of people will leave their job if their business just matched their job income. They aren't looking at millions. All they want to do is just like match their job income. That's it. And so I share these things because I want the light bulb to go off in people's head. I want to free people. I want people to realize that, like, you know what? It's not that deep. And if I can make money and be free, that is worth more than money to me. Why? Because now you're not going through all the different things that you were experienced on the job. So you're not going through the situation where you're asking for a raise, not sure if you can get a raise. You know what I do if I want a raise? I run a sale. I create a new product. I determine if I get a raise, not somebody else. I determine whether I'm going to take a vacation, not somebody else. And that is worth more than money. So even if I was making less money than whoever else, I'm still more free. And I like that. I like the fact that I'm more free. I just want to be free. I want to be able to pop up and know that if I mean, there's things that I've done that have just been like worth more than the money. Going to Detroit on a random Tuesday, going to Atlanta on a random Thursday, going to wherever I want to go. I don't got to check in with nobody. I don't have to be constantly worried about what they're going to say when I get back. No crazy looks. None of like that. None of that. So like what Gary Vee was also saying is he was like, man, people are worried about the great resignation, but what about the great never applying? What about the folks who are just like, I'm not even applying for a job. Like, I'm good. And I think that's where a lot of us are getting to, where it's like, I'm not even going to apply for no job, fam. Miss me. But corporate culture has to adapt to that. They have to realize that they don't necessarily have all the power because the internet does exist. So just like you were saying before, like he couldn't create a job on his phone, so we had to work 2 jobs. We have the ability to create income from our phone, so we're not beholden to the job anymore. They don't have all the power, so what they need to do is they need to figure something out fast if they want to retain some quality talent, because it ain't looking too good for the corporations, fam.
Yeah, because like you disrespect somebody and they send there like, bro, you know how much money they make outside of here? You got kids making money on YouTube, on TikTok, Instagram, never even had a job in their life. Remember, I forget the name of that kid that was probably like 9 years old, making like millions of dollars on YouTube, opening toys. You've seen that, right? The kid was making millions of dollars opening toys and built up a YouTube channel.
Yeah, this whole thing going.
Like crazy. Now you had a tweet where you said you're broke because you stopped making money on weekends. I never stopped making money ever. Not even when I'm asleep. When I'm in the shower. Now when I'm doing something unrelated. Never, ever.
That was a tweet that I brought from. It was actually a repeated tweet that I got from Hype Fear that I already knew does well. So one of the things I do, y'all, is I recycle tweets that do well because they're going to consistently do well. So I'm going to get more likes, more retweets, and more shares, and therefore increase my following. So I don't got to always create something new. I can just retweet, repost something that does well. So anyway, I thought about that because I never take it for granted that I'm doing things now on the days that I used to be working. I used to work 7 days a week, y'all. I used to work 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And then sometimes I would take off Sunday because I was just exhausted. But usually like peak times, Monday through Sunday. And so it's always interesting to me when I make money when I'm on a boat. I make money when I'm golfing. I make money if I'm going and doing something unrelated. And so and so what I was gonna say is that where was I going? I forgot where I was going. I saw that comment.
You're talking about how you make money even on the weekends.
Right. So yeah, even on the weekends, like and so like that's one thing I noticed is another thing that I noticed is when I used to work full time in the firm, like I couldn't work overtime, I couldn't make money on the weekends, I couldn't stay late. I was doing that and I would still not get paid. I was just contributing it to the firm because I was like, they're gonna see my greatness. So when I first started working the firm, they paid me less than what I wanted. And I was kind of upset, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get it back in overtime. So I started working overtime. And they're like, no, you can't work overtime. So I worked overtime anyway, and I just didn't get paid for it. So I show up at 8, work until about 7. In part because it just makes sense to commute later when I was coming from LA, but I'll still put that extra time in. So I was doing like 60 hours a week. So I tell y'all I was working Monday through Friday, but I was working hard Monday through. I tell you I was working Monday through Sunday. I was working hard Monday through Friday. I was doing about 80 hours a week, two full-time jobs essentially. And so the reason why I share that is because I don't know why I share that. I forgot what the tweet was because I was over here thinking about the comments. What was the tweet again? So I can
You're talking about making money every day of the week.
Oh, every day, right? So, and that was one of the things I realized is like, man, I can't make money if I can't make money if I'm not in the office. But now I can make money wherever. And this is important because if your money stops but your spending keeps going, you're going to fall behind. And so this is why a part of the reason why I tell people to work a lot is not just so that you can make more money, it's so you can stop spending your money. You're too busy to spend. If I'm always working and making money, now I'm not going to your brunch. Now I'm not going to your random event. Now I'm not going and just finding ways to spend money. People get bored and just find ways to spend money. And so that's what I would say.
Yeah. Now, I had a question for you. You had a tweet where you said the people hating on me are people I wouldn't even speak to. What do you mean by that?
I forgot who said that. But yeah. I think it was just funny. I think it was a burn. I was listening to somebody rap and he said that. I was like, it's funny because like usually the people that like are hating on you are people that lost access to you, who at one point in time liked you a lot. It's very rare. Like you can't go from like people don't become haters without first loving you at one point in time. That's why like somebody posted something about his baby mom. And I was like, man, that relationship's going to get tough after she's not like your girlfriend or your wife anymore because now she has no incentive to actually make your life easy. In fact, she probably despised you a little bit. So she wants to figure out ways to make your life suck. So the moral of the story is don't create a baby mama because baby mama by default is going to make your life difficult. So that's what I was going to say there. But really, like people who are going out of like you, it never fails. The people who go out of their way to dislike you are the people who once were like singing your praises. That's why I don't really get too comfortable with folks now. So I'm like, all it takes is one time. And that person who's saying such great things about me is going to be just as vocal about what they don't like about me. But it's interesting because when people come and they work with you, they see your flaws. I'm not perfect. I got flaws. I make mistakes. And they see them, but they don't say them because they see the benefit of the relationship. But then after whatever happens and they get mad, and now they're going to point out all the stuff that they've been overlooking. So it's the same thing. It's like business is like marriage. We already just married to a bunch of folks. So I just say that because, like, in my opinion, the haters, you got to look at it as admiration. It's just admiration behind the veil. Nobody truly dislikes you. They more than likely admire you, but they just lost access, and so they resort to hate. It's just like Tony the Closer. We're going to take it there. It's just like Tony the Closer. Tony the Closer at one point in time had nothing but great things to say about Jay Morrison. Tony the Closer at one point in time had nothing but great things to say about him 500. He's the person who brought him 500 on the podcast. He was like, I got a great guest for y'all, Wallow. Here's him 500. And now all of a sudden you don't like them? No, because you lost access to them, so they resort to hate. We need to be able to see through these things, y'all. We need to be able to see through these things so we cannot be swayed by somebody's agenda. Because these folks have an agenda. Do they dislike them because they're actually a bad person, or do they dislike them because they had a falling out? And if you dislike them because you had a falling out, that's a personal issue.
Right.
That's a personal issue. That's not a everybody get involved and hate on this person issue. But that's what they try to turn it into. And it shouldn't be that. But it's cool to see that. I think what's interesting is when you're building something, and maybe this is an employee mentality, is you think everybody got to like you. When you work into that job, everybody has to like you. In business, 50% of the people can hate your guts. But if you got 50% of the people, you still got a whole lot of people. You don't need everybody to like you. You just need a bunch of people too. And that's one of the things that I was talking about when it comes in terms of you're independent. When you're a big name rapper, you can't have half the world hating you. But when you're an independent rapper, you can, because you don't need money from everybody. You don't need to make money for everybody. And I was telling my wife this last night. I was like, when you're an independent rapper, it's different, because when you're a signed rapper, you got to make money for the white dude. You got to make money for his white employees. And then you also got to make money for you. When you're an independent rapper, you just got to make money for you. And so we can do the math. If you can sell, or you can get like 25,000 people to rock with you, you be solid. 25,000 people could rock with you, and 1 million of them can hate your guts, but you could still be good with your 25,000 people. And I think that is why business is so powerful. You don't need everybody to love it. All you got to do is find that group of people that do. And that's why you got to share your truth, and that's why you got to tweet your truth. Like, say, for example, I got 160,000 followers on Instagram, 40,000 followers on Twitter. That means the majority of Twitter doesn't follow me. So a lot of people do, but most people don't. But me and that 40,000, we be rocking out. Me and my little corner of the internet be rocking out. All you need is your corner. He said, you just got to get a slice. Get your share of what's out there, your percentage. That's what Currency said. You got to get your share of what's out there. Just get your percentage. That's it. I don't need everybody to like it. I want people to like it, but I don't need it.
8,000 true fans. And what I learned from like the late 90s with the Master P's and everybody that came behind them is like the Slim Thugs and stuff like that, is that you don't need to sell 1 million albums when you control it. Like these big artists on the big labels were making maybe $1, probably not even $1 off these albums, while the independents were making like $8 each album. So if they sold 100,000, they were making more money than people that sold 1 million on the big labels, because they had control over it and much higher profit margins, and they weren't getting pimped. They were not getting pimped, man. So that's something to think about.
It's the power, but again, you got to put a lot of effort and energy into getting your percentage. Like, don't think it's just gonna fall in your lap. You got to grind to get that percentage. You got to grind to get your market share. You got to post. You got to create content. You got to be up on a Sunday morning creating Sunday service. You got to do all that stuff in order to get your following up. It's not going to fall out of the sky. It's not going to fall out of the sky.
Right. And everything ain't free. Like you got a tweet where you say, my tolerance for people who expect everything for free is at an all-time low.
I had that thought before I got on here, man. I was like, I'm at a point now where if I'm not going to make any money doing it, even if it's a small amount of money, I'm just not going to do it. And so one of the reasons why this thought came from respectfully, y'all, is a while back. I was like, hey man, I'm making mastermind shirts. Anybody who wants one, just let me know. And everybody's like, I want one, I want one, I want one. Then I was like, you know what? I just kept putting off the project. Why? Because my time ain't free no more. I can't do free stuff anymore. And like, that's why I said respectfully, and I preface that with respectfully. Like, I love the mastermind family. I show up for y'all every morning, but like actually going out of my way to do physical labor to make all these shirts, I was like, I don't got time for that, fam. So I kept kicking it off. And it wasn't that I didn't want to make them. I didn't want folks to rep it. It's just I just wasn't incentivized to do it. I couldn't find the motivation to do it for free. And so I was like, you know what? I can't do free stuff anymore. I cannot do free stuff anymore. Respectfully. So folks got money. This is a fly shirt. Check out this shirt, man. And this is the second iteration. Things get better over time. The first iteration wasn't this nice, but I'm like, this is perfect. Like, I got the right golds. I got the right black. So, you know, grab it now for $25 on Gumroad, and I'll send you one ASAP. But I just don't have the ability to do stuff for free anymore, especially because I've been doing stuff for so much low cost, and I got a son, and I got competing obligations, and we already do so much for free. So it's like, it's not so much that I didn't want to do it. I just couldn't find the motivation to do it. It was not inside me to find the motivation to do it. And I think it was because it was for free. And so there's certain things, like if we're building towards something, like it can seem like it's kind of like a contradiction, but it's not a contradiction because it's different types of things. If I'm helping you build something, I can contribute. But if I'm having to like take time and produce something and buy the shirts and buy the things, and it ain't easy making these shirts, y'all. It's not easy. So that's just all I was saying.
That's why I thought you were crazy when you said it.
And I be trying to see, I do this thing where it's like, I want to get buy-in from people. I want to get buy-in. I want to know that like, okay, like people are rocking with it. And so sometimes the way to find out they're rocking with it is to do it for free. But if it's digital products, maybe, but physical labor and all that stuff, that's way different. Digital products, I can discount that for you. I don't got to do nothing but post a link. But actually doing like a free thing, I got to go buy the shirt. I got to buy the material. I got to print it out. I got to weed it out. That's a lot of work, y'all. It's a lot of work. Harsh Money said that's what I learned. It's not that we don't want to do it. It's not worth our time. It's like, I would love to make the shirts for you guys. But it's like, I got other stuff to do, man. I got my son who, like, I only got a few more minutes on this because it's gonna be like full-time dad mode. And so, like, I'm lucky she like gave me these 5 minutes because she's supposed to be leaving in like 9:45. She's doing a class this week, so she can start a business, which means we're gonna start a business, which means y'all gonna see this content because every business is the same. You gotta have content, you gotta have merch, gotta have a web presence.
All the same about getting and keeping customers. We're gonna wrap it up for this episode.
Shout out to our Patreons in the building. Let me make sure I got the Patreon list. You know what's funny? Patreons, man, last week, me and Michelle recorded a fire episode. And I looked up and I did not hit record. So that's the reason why I didn't post a Patreon episode this week. My bad, y'all. But we do have 8 Patreons. And those Patreons are Marcus Barton. Shout out to Marcus Barton in the building. He's always showing us love. We got Byron Mason.
Oh, snap.
Shout out to Byron Mason. Chandra Richardson. Shout out to Chandra Richardson. William Manley. Shout out to William Manley. James Bates. Shout out to James Bates. We got the Heartzogs in the building. Shout out to the Heartzogs. Keenan Hastings. Shout out to Keenan Hastings and Kiani Adams. So shout out to all y'all, man. I really appreciate it. We out here living, creating this content, and just trying to continue to do this really cool stuff for you guys. We got 14 people watching. I think that's what happens when you keep going long. So shout out to y'all for tuning in. We'll continue to do this. But I gotta head out. We doing the pool today. So I already filled the pool. I inflated the pool. I just gotta rinse it down, and he has to change his clothes so we can go swimming today.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna get grass from my backyard. I'm going to Home Depot. Probably going to Home Depot today to get some grass for the backyard. Because we got a California backyard, y'all. That means it ain't that big. But still, I'm gonna put some artificial grass back there myself. Man, I was over here thinking, I was like, there's so many things I want to do to my backyard, but if I keep hiring experts to do it, they're just gonna be taxing me. So I'm like, I'm gonna figure out how to put my own little easel awning back there. I want an awning. I want something that kind of like hangs off the side of the house It's probably got to hang it down and have like posts. So I'm gonna get one of those, put some grass back there, put me some furniture back there, give me a little fire pit, man. Create a little Negro oasis. You know? And then I can name my oasis something. It's gonna be called something. You guys see my new name, T Diddy. T Diddy. I'm out here trying to, build these careers. I need more artists. I'm trying to add some more artists to my roster and just be like running them out. Todd Capital Records.
Todd Capital Records. On that note, be sure to follow.
Music, though. Only positive music. No cursing. No bees. No sex talk. All we're talking about is lifestyle and business and entrepreneurship. It's just another form of content, man. We got another form of content. They're gonna be shouting out Todd Capital on the songs and stuff. I actually do have another artist that I could probably bring on too. He's really good.
Okay, we will look out for it. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube, the Todd Capital YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Tweet Talk Pod. That's Tweet Talk POD. Follow myself, Raphael, on Twitter at Work Money Life. Follow Charles at Real Todd Billion. Follow us on Instagram at Tweet Talk Podcast. Follow the parent company at Todd.Capital. For this episode of Tweet Talk, the Black Wealth Podcast, your man Raphael and co-host Charles, we are out of here. Peace.